When you're creating and selling products, basically manufacturing products and selling them, you tend to be more worried about the demand side of things because that is where the customers are, right? Demand, supply, Supply, that's where you are as the seller. Demand, that's where the buyer is. When you're buying something, then you're playing on the demand side of things. Now, demand can be dependent or it can be independent, okay? Like if you're manufacturing cars, then the demand of tires will depend on the number of cars that have been produced. But then the cars themselves, okay, that's independent, okay? People will decide if they're going to buy them or not. But the real question is, how can proper logistics management help you with your demand needs? In this video, we answer that. So before we start, if you like this content and all the contents that we do put out, business related content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, help us grow the channel, it will cost you nothing. Also, there's a PDF giving you 19 business ideas you can start in logistics management. I've linked it below, so grab it in the end. Now, we said demand, as far as your business is concerned, can be dependent or can be independent. For example, Apple or Samsung can spend millions on marketing, but at the end of the day, a customer has to decide on their own if they need a new phone. But that, so is independent, right? But regarding things like the phone chargers, those ones don't really depend on Apple's, they don't depend on the customer, okay? I mean, unless the customer, for the most part, that will just depend on the number of phones that have been manufactured. So in that case, the chargers, okay, the phone chargers, that is dependent. The phone itself, that is independent. It will just come down to the customer's decision. How does all this fit in your business and where does logistics management come in? To answer that, let's look at some of the manufacturing strategies that companies tend to use, okay, or businesses tend to use so that they can balance their demand, which, by the way, just depends on the business you are in, okay, or you have in place. Now, in this case, the options, okay, the manufacturing options or strategies, in this case, they'll come down to the following 4 things. So that is make to stock, assemble to order, make to order, or engineer to order. Now, regarding the first one, make to stock, in this case, you're producing goods in advance, okay, whatever you're making is already, you're producing them in advance and then you're putting them to stock. So you're producing based on demand forecast and storing them in inventory until customer orders them. Now, you see this sort of thing when you visit a retail shop. You go to a supermarket, what happens? Whatever you want to buy is already at the shelf. So you just pick, pay, go away. When you go to a shop, okay, and then you say, well, I need like a packet of milk, bread, whatever it is, the thing is already there. So how does logistics come in here? Well, number one, it will ensure raw materials are available in time for production, manages warehouse space for finished goods, optimizes distribution for retailers or distributors to prevent stockouts or overstocking. So if you take something like a soft drink company, so in this case, let's go with Coca-Cola, right? So let's use that as an example. The company produces large quantities of drinks based on seasonal demand forecasts, okay? Now, in this case, logistics, okay, so logistics in this case will ensure that sugar, bottles, and flavors are supplied on time, finished drinks are stored efficiently, products reach supermarkets before peak demand, so for example, summer. When a retailer places an order, logistics ensures same day or next day delivery from the nearest warehouse. So if you're in all those businesses where you just sell finished goods directly to the consumers, either you buy them and then you retail them, then that's pretty much how logistics will help you. In this case, it's make to order. Now, number 2, assemble to order. You see these in like if you go to a KFC or Starbucks or happens, you say what you want, right? It's not like what I want, I want chicken, but I need to be this or this and that way. Or I need this drink and I want it. Or if you're feeling like, James Bond and then you go to a restaurant and then you say you want some cocktail or whatever it is. At this point, you just double or pointless or something, right? And then you're like, yeah, whatever. So you're giving the instructions and then the waiter will pass the instructions to the guy who does these with drinks and whatever, that guy, okay? The barman or that guy. And then they give you whatever it is that you want. If it is fruit cocktail, giving instructions, melons, and then that. So what sort of assembly strategy is that? So in this case, that's what we're talking about. It's assemble to order. Now, that's what all those examples are, okay? All these are examples of assemble to order. The business strategy here is keeping the basic components in stock, but assembling the final product only after receiving a customer order. Which means you have, like in the case of a cocktail, you have various fruits, okay? Or in the case of a drink, you have various drinks, but the final product, okay? The final product will depend on what the customer ordered. So these things are just like raw materials. What about logistics management in this case? Now, number one, tracks inventory of pre-made components. It will also help you in managing multiple suppliers to ensure all parts arrive when needed, coordinating production schedules and delivery commitments, organizing components for quick access during assembly. Now, from a real-world example, again, because, practicals, a computer manufacturing company like Dell will stock processors, RAM, and hard drives, but assemble laptops only when customers order. In short, when you order your custom laptop online, that's when they work on it, because they don't know what you want. They know the components that will go into that laptop, but they just don't know how, much of those things you need. Logistics ensures components are available in warehouse, fast assembly and shipping after order confirmation, customized order reaches the customer quickly. Now remember, the logistics team must balance component inventory levels while meeting diverse customer configurations. Maybe you're not thinking about your business, right? Maybe it isn't like retailer, or maybe you're not mixing things to come up with something else. Maybe you're just waiting for somebody to make an order and then you work on the design and then like a website designer, okay? Or shooting videos. So like those don't fit in any of those two categories. Well, we still have two more of those things to talk about. But here's a quick thing you need to know. Now, this part, okay, like this sort of tutorial or this part of tutorial is actually part of my logistics management course, which teaches you how to start business in logistics. First of all, you learn logistics management, right? Everything that, from an academic angle. And then how do you turn all that information into a business, okay? The business ideas that you can start based on that. That means understanding the concept of logistics management, okay? In which case you're going to be looking at things like the role and activities of logistics management, the component of integrated logistics, evaluate aspects of competitive advantages that can be achieved through logistics management, as well as the use of technology in logistics management. And that's the first part, okay? You also get to understand capacity planning and control in logistics management, which means by the time you're done with that, you'll be in a position to analyze techniques that can be applied to planning and control in logistics management, explain techniques that can be applied to capacity management, as well as analyze the use of reverse logistics. And as I said, okay, it's not just theory. Okay, the idea here is, yes, you get to know the theory, but you also, each time we're talking about any of those aspects, we look at business ideas that can pop based on those ones and what you can do about them. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. There's a link provided in the description. Sign up using that. In fact, if you download the PDF, the 19 business ideas that you can start, that will also put you on a waiting list. When the course is up, you'll be notified. If you're watching this one and it's already out, you'll also get it there. So download that PDF, okay, and also be in a position to be notified when we are done with the entire thing. Number 3, make to order. And in this case, you're not really dealing with inventory. Like you don't have inventory there, just waiting for. And what is actually going to happen here is that somebody places an order, you confirm that order, and then you start working on that thing. So for example, catering for a wedding or a tailor making custom-made suits. Think about it, right? In catering, okay, the hospitality thing. You don't just sit there with your cake and your drinks and then say, anybody who walks in says they have a wedding, you just carry these things and take them there. Nope. What happens is that somebody says, we have a wedding, like when is it, how many visitors, who's allergic to what, who's not going to eat something because it will make them fat or something. So all that stuff, right? And then you figure that one out. And that's when you start working on that thing. The same thing with the tailor. You walk in, take measurements, blah, 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 and then the material, all that stuff. Then they start working on your custom made suits. So in this case, that's how that is going to work out. Now, logistics. How do logistics come in this all scenario? It will play roles such as sourcing raw materials quickly when an order arrives, coordinates production and delivery times, keeping customers updated on progress, minimizing warehousing costs since no finished goods are stored, handle special instructions for delivery. Practical example, let's use a company like IKEA, okay? So IKEA, the furniture guys and whatever. So logistics in this case ensures wood, fabric, and foam are procured just in time. Production schedules align with delivery promises. Finished sofas are shipped directly to the customer. And then, so that's that, right? The final one here is number 4, the fourth production way you can go about with your business is engineer to order, okay? Now, in this case, you are building everything from scratch after, okay? After you've agreed on the design. So you don't just start with the order starts with designing stage and all that stuff. Basically, each product is uniquely designed and manufactured for specific customer requirements, okay? Think about it. If somebody says they want a software, of course, you could have the pre-made softwares and then you just customize and do that, or one and then they just buy. But if they want a custom one, it means you sit down, you design the entire thing, and then start from there. Or a house. Think about a house. Forget about software. Think about a house. Okay? Same thing. Or a bridge. Now, logistics will help through things like sourcing specialized materials as per design, managing longer lead times for complex production, and then coordinating with suppliers, engineers, and transporters. So again, you know the format, right? What is it? Examples, logistics, and then practical example, right? So practical example in this case, an industrial machinery manufacturer, for example, Caterpillar, okay, which designs and builds machine based on clients' specs. So in this case, logistics will ensure rare materials, e.g. reinforced steels are sourced, production stages are tracked for on-time delivery, heavy machinery is transported safely to the client. So those are 4 ways you can go about your business, okay? Like 4 strategies you can use to control demand. The idea is demand. You don't want to make something and then no one is interested in it. You don't want to make less of it, you don't want to make more of it, you just want to make it based on the demand. And the strategies you can go for are make to stock, assemble to order, make to order, and engineer to order. As well as if there's any question you ask, don't forget to download your PDF. Also, subscribe. If there is any question, ask. See you in the next video.